Hi. I want to persuade you to turn your ordinary conversations into insight-producing engines tonight. I'm going to do it by telling you a story about an ordinary guy named Sam. I'm going to mention 3 philosophers and 1 rhetorician, and I'll be hacking each of these people, so a line will form to tar and feather me after. Sam was a senior in high school. He was trying to sort out what to do with his life. He went to a party one night, met a woman named Peg. They talked about college. Sam didn't know where he was going to go, and that's what he said to Peg. Peg said, "Sam, you should go to the University of Wisconsin-Madison." Sam said, "Eh." Sam left the party. Peg left the party. They never saw each other again. That was that. Here's the odd part. Months later, Sam still had not figured out where to go to school, but he had to sign up and he had to put money down. He remembered the woman and Madison and said, "Why not?" So he went to Madison. And it was at Madison that Sam met his future wife, decided on law school, and years later was appointed to be a judge by the state's governor. So Sam experienced some success. Sam made a choice on the advice of a woman he hardly knew at a party he wasn't even going to go to. The choice turned out to be a key decision point in his life, a sort of pivot. This is not uncommon. Happens all the time. Any of us can and do look back to see small decisions that become pivot points in our own lives, but we're not stuck looking passively back. We want to look forward. We want to know how to have more pivot point conversations right now in real time, and how can we help other people have pivot point conversations. Step 1, think of the other person as a hero. How would you talk with a hero? You'd listen carefully, you'd hang on every word. That's close to what Martin Buber said. Buber was a 20th century philosopher who thought a lot about relationships between people. Buber famously called a person-to-person relationship I-thou, while our relationship with an object was I-it. He said this because he wanted to see people as fully human and give them full attention, while objects are there for us to manipulate and use. People we cherish, objects we use, people we use, never. So our first step is to think of the person before us as a hero. I don't know if Sam considered the woman a hero, but to a lot of us guys in high school, just being a woman was hero enough to get our attention. Second step in hacking a conversation, you press Alt. What does alt mean? It means alternative or other or alterity, as our second philosopher, Emmanuel Levinas, used the word. Levinas was roughly a contemporary with Buber, and Levinas wrote his first book when he was a prisoner of war in a Nazi prison camp. He was fascinated by the stuff outside of us, the other, and he wondered what the other could say to us, especially since we live our lives mostly looking out from our own eyes and seeing everything from our perspective. Levinas also had this sense that we owe a certain responsibility to the other. So when hacking a conversation for insight, we think of the person before us as a hero, and then we press Alt to ask what that other person has to say to us and what responsibility we have to them. Pressing Alt reminds us to be curious about a different perspective. The third step is to collect. Wayne Booth was professor of rhetoric at the University of Chicago. Booth said there's 3 ways of having conversations. He said, you can try to win by bullying or manipulating the other person, or you can try to bargain. This is the compromise model, where everybody's happy when no one is happy. You can listen closely to the others, or you can listen closely to the other side to get at the underlying truth. Listening for underlying truth gives us breathing room to sift and collect those true words without the pressure of trying to win or forget what we know is true. So the third step is about collecting truth as we walk through a conversation. Here's where we set ourselves up for something larger, for collecting answers and inscribing them on the big questions that face us in life. Questions you may not realize you even need to answer. So we consider the person before us a hero, we press Alt, and we collect the answers to the big questions. The final step in hacking a conversation is kaboom. Back in the 60s, J.L. Austin, who was an Oxford philosopher, wrote a book about how to do things with words. He noticed that sometimes when we say things, stuff happens out in the world. Words make things different. Like when a preacher pronounces 2 people married, something has changed, their legal status has changed. Or I often like to think of the creation story in the Bible, where God said things and stuff happened. Water and mountains appeared, wombats and mangoes, women and men. I think the creation story is closer to what happens in conversation. Our shared words present pivot points that can change life direction. The kaboom for Sam happened when money pushed him to decide on his impending plans. Kaboom is all about looking for the disruptive element that will surely come to the attentive person. So now you know how to hack a conversation. Think of the person before you as a hero. Press Alt to see something outside yourself. Collect the stuff that is the answers to the big questions, and then wait for the kaboom. Thank you.